How's it going, guys? Vaibhav here and welcome back to another video. Now today we're talking about yet another gaming smartphone in 2020, which seems to be the trend for this year's smartphones. This one is from Lenovo and they're calling it the Legion Gaming smartphone with a 144Hz display, a 90-watt charging capacity and a side pop-up camera. So I'm going to be discussing all of these specifications, but let's actually look at the front panel. I think by the looks of it, it's a 6.5 to a 7-inch panel, might be a 6.9-inch panel. I know it's a full HD Plus panel, but we're not quite sure if it's an IPS LCD or an AMOLED panel. Now, a previous leak of the phone does signify that this thing will have an in-screen fingerprint scanner. If you zoom in a bit, you can see it right there. And only AMOLED panels tend to have an in-screen fingerprint scanner, which makes me believe that the phone will have an AMOLED panel, unless this is the first phone with an IPS LCD panel, but chances for that are pretty slim. Now, if you look at other things, it's got stereo speakers, dual on the left and right side, so pretty good for gaming. It doesn't have a 3.5mm headphone jack, but Lenovo might be able to defend that because it might have some good quality speakers and good optimization. It's got a Type-C USB port at the bottom of the phone. There's no 3.5mm headphone jack, which might be one of the drawbacks for the phone, but there's also a Type-C USB port right here for charging that 5000 mAh battery that everyone is talking about and 90-watt charging. So Lenovo wanted to address one of the biggest issues with gaming smartphones with this smartphone being the fact that when you charge it from one side gets hotter than the other. They wanted to eliminate that, and so the Type-C USB port is in the center of the phone, and this 90-watt charging technology means that you're going to be going from a 0% charge to a 100% charge in just 30 minutes, which is ridiculous, but I think it's needed for gaming smartphones. Now, the third thing and sort of the last thing I want to mention about the design is this side mounted or side pop-up camera. To me, it looked ridiculous at first, but I think it makes total sense. If you look at the actual software that this phone might be running, it mentions that it's going to be Lenovo ZUI 12 on top of Android 10. Now, if ZUI, for example, brings in a feature which allows you to stream your games natively through the phone, this camera or this pop-up style will be very useful because you could use it as a face cam. Now, the quality of this thing, I don't know if it's 4K or 1080p, but it is a 20 megapixel sensor, and judging by the fact that this is a flagship level smartphone, we can expect it to have a 4K resolution, which would make perfect sense for people who want to stream natively straight from the smartphone using a face cam. And I think this phone is intended for that, and that's why it's built more to be used from a landscape form factor than a portrait form factor. Also, the Type-C USB port at the bottom when using it in landscape mode just makes the gaming experience a lot more comfortable. If you look at this video that Lenovo released for a while back, I think it was a few weeks ago, it's basically showing one phone that doesn't have cooling optimization, so he has to put in a fan next to the phone to enable it to cool, and the Lenovo gaming phone, you don't have to do that. Another feature on the Lenovo gaming phone is the fact that the charging cable is not off to the side, so it doesn't make for an uncomfortable experience, whereas on the gaming phone, you can just plug it in from the bottom of the phone and keep gaming. And this sort of reminds me of the PSP. Granted, the charging port was on the right side, but you know, this reminds me of a gaming console per se, and I think what Lenovo is doing might actually work for this gaming smartphone territory. Not only that, it's got the latest Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 5G processor, and I'm pretty sure it's got UFS 3.0 storage as well. So if we dig a bit deeper into the website, I'll leave a link down in the description as I mentioned. It talks about the design. So this design might help with dissipating thermal heat, which is another plus point for the phone. And if you go at the bottom, it does mention that it's got UFS 3.0 internal storage. Now, we're not quite sure if it might bring microSD card support or not, but UFS 3.0 internal storage will be coupled with at least 12 gigabytes of RAM. Obviously, you don't get any sort of notch on the front of the display. It's a full display, so again, it doesn't look to have any sort of curve, so that's obviously a good thing. I think curved displays just make or sort of get in the way of gaming. They have these unwanted touches, and I don't think gamers want that, so that's pretty cool to have. And I think most of these images are coming officially from Lenovo, these top two, 90-watt, as well as the software on board, whereas these ones are coming from unreleased video footage from this trusted source that XDA is quoting. So once again, you can see the design of the phone more in depth. It's got dual cameras right here. Again, you can see the Type-C USB port right about there, some Lenovo branding. I think it looks pretty sleek overall, does have a gaming vibe, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be available in two colors. So we've got this bluish color, and then we also saw this red color, or it might have RGB LED at the back. I'm pretty sure it's the latter, so that will be cool. Now we'll get to the packaging and pricing in just a bit. Let me just go over the specifications right here. So this dual camera setup, I don't expect it to be sort of mind-blowing. According to the leak of this page, it's got a 64 and a 16 megapixel sensor. So a 64 megapixel primary sensor, whereas a 16 megapixel wide angle sensor. So already it's got more versatility than the Google Pixel, which doesn't have a wide angle camera. I'm just joking. But yeah, so I mean, it's got pretty much everything you'd want from a flagship level smartphone. The pop-up style camera might be a bit awkward for, you know, your general usage, but if you're buying this only for gaming, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be for gaming, like look, for example, the video shows that it demonstrates the U engine, the dual X-axis linear vibration motor. All of these things translate to a good gaming experience. So people are focusing on the fact that people want good haptic feedback when gaming, so that's one thing that this might bring. Obviously the front-facing camera is one of the most unique things I've seen, but also the fact that there might be other software on board to boost the gaming enhancements of this phone even further. I won't be surprised if this phone has probably one of the best performance on an Android smartphone to date. It also goes into depth on the dual heat pipe partitions, so long-lasting cooling, also the speaker system. So I guess overall, if you look at this phone, the internals, everything, this is turning out to be one of the better, or one of the most unique flagship smartphones of 2020 so far. The 3D texture, obviously, with cooling once again. And yeah, as far as the pricing for this phone goes, I wouldn't be surprised to see it priced at around the $700 to $800 mark. I could be wrong. This might be a much cheaper alternative. A $599 gaming smartphone could absolutely kill it, but we're not sure when this might be available or where it might be available. So people are saying that this might be available in markets like India and China, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be the case, but I don't know if it'll make it to, let's say, the UAE market or the USA market. Not sure about that, but these are pretty much all of the leaks we've seen. Slash Leaks again had leaked one of these images, but it comes from XDA anyway, so all of that makes sense. Here is where I found out about the 5000 milliamp hour battery. But yes, the pricing. So according to the XDA leak, they also mention what's going to come in the box of the phone. So the bundle includes the phone itself, but also a pair of gamepads, true wireless earbuds, and a protective case. Now, if you go back here, that pretty much is what is the case right here. Now, I'm not sure how much all of this bundled in might cost. I'm pretty sure the phone in itself will cost $599 and upwards, but this bundled in might push it to around the $750 mark at least. And I say that taking into consideration the insanely competitive market in China, because I know gaming smartphones with the 865, 12 gigabytes of RAM, 120 Hz refresh rate displays, etc., going for as low as $450. So if this wants to compete in the Chinese market, it needs to undercut in terms of price for sure. But it does have things going for it, like the charging, the AMOLED panel, the 144 Hz, the higher refresh rate, the camera system. The 64 and 16 megapixel is kind of unique, and the 20 megapixel front facing camera is absolutely unique. So it does have a lot of things going for it, and people might actually buy this phone given the reputation of the brand when it comes to, you know, gaming products in the laptop segments. I think sort of everything is lining up for Legion to take or make an impact in the gaming sector of smartphones. It just is a matter of time as to when we see this happen. Now, according to this leak, we've got no sort of confirmation on when we might see the phone available. Let me do a Control F and see if it mentions anything to do with a May launch. So it doesn't seem to do anything to do with a May launch. So I guess this might be coming soon, but we're not sure how soon it might be. We've already seen teasers from Lenovo, we've already seen leaks, and we've already seen most of the specifications of the phone. Now it's just a matter of time of when this thing will go official. But yeah, I guess that about wraps up this video. If you want a more in-depth look at, you know, the things that this thing will have, go in the description down below, look at the site, and you'll have everything in detail. But this was just me reacting to it and maybe giving you my thoughts on what this phone can offer and what or who it is aimed for. I think this is aimed for a market that wants to get started with their streaming, doesn't want that many peripherals, doesn't want to invest in a streaming setup. I think this could be the perfect alternative. I mean, I have cousins who do gaming videos on YouTube and they pretty much do them from their phones. So this would be the perfect alternative for them, you know, when they start, if they price it at the right amount. So yeah, that's about it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think about the Legion Gaming phone. Are you expecting to see maybe 2 variants of the phone? Because this does mention the fact that the 90-watt charging, if you have a look at one of the leaks somewhere nearby, it does say that the 90-watt charging is not specific to the high-end version of the smartphone. So there might be 2 different variants of the smartphone right here. So yeah, that's about it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.